Sam, what's your theme?
Child abuse.
Child abuse. What a lovely way to start Monday. Child. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Child abuse is definitely more than just bruises, broken bones, or black eyes. Child abuse is any act that endangers a child's physical or emotional health and development. Physical abuse can easily be noticed, but emotional abuse or child neglection are hard to notice, and needless to say, it leaves a long and deep-lasting scars that can never be forgotten. There are also other types of child abuse, such as sexual and verbal abuse. All these different types of child abuse can cause a child to suffer from long-term psychological problems such as post-traumatic stress disorder, clinical depression, and anxiety. Abused and neglected children are 11 times more likely to engage in criminal behavior as an adult. About 80% of 21-year-olds who were abused as children met criteria for at least one psychological disorder. The National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect estimates as many as 100,000 to 200,000 children are physically abused each year. Abuse is the second leading cause of death behind sudden infant death syndrome for children 0 to 5 years of age. The number of children in the U.S. who had died because of child abuse or neglect in 2010 was 1,527. 79.4% were younger than 4 years of age, and 47.7% were younger than 1 year in age. The number of reports of child abuse each year in the U.S. is 2.6 million, and the number of children involved in child abuse reports 6 million. Most reports come from teachers, law enforcement, or social services. Child abuse and neglect often take place in the home. The child often knows the abuser, either a parent, relative, babysitter, or a friend of the family. Child abuse doesn't always happen in poor families or bad neighborhoods. It crosses all racial, economic, and cultural lines. Sometimes families who seem to have it all from the outside are hiding a different story behind closed doors. I chose the topic child abuse because I strongly disagree with it and feel like it is a big issue in our world. I think abusing innocent children is wrong and there's no excuse for it. This topic is important to me because growing up as a child, I had to see my cousins be abused by their father and mother, not just physically, but emotionally too. The song I chose is called I'm Okay by Christina Aguilera. I chose it because I feel like it explains clearly to her life and what she went through as a child. The song is about a young girl who grew up living with an abusive father and the memories that still haunt her, even when she's grown up. I think she's trying to tell herself that she's okay, but in reality, the abuse not only her, but also her mother, still affects her. In the first verse of the song, Christina talks about her early childhood and how she had to learn quickly that she was growing up in a bad home. She says she doesn't know where to turn and who to go to when all this abuse is happening in her home. She had to watch her mother be abused by her father and deal with all the screaming and yelling that she would hear. The chorus is explaining that no matter how many bruises fade, the pain of her father beating her and her mother is still in her memory, and the pain will never fade. She looks up to her mother of how strong she was and all the love she gave, even after being beaten by her husband. Every morning when she woke up, she put it behind her and looked back at yesterday and said she was okay, when in reality she really wasn't. The second verse is her wondering why she had guilt for what her father was doing to her and her mother. When she says, shadows stir at night through a crack in the door, it means her seeing her father beat her mother. She would scream and yell, but her father wouldn't understand the damage she was doing to her physically and emotionally. For her father, it was just a day of him beating her and just an old memory, but for her, it was a lifetime memory that she would never forget. Finally, the third verse of the song is saying how it isn't so easy to forget and how all the marks left on her and her mother will never leave her mind. She said how she was so afraid to come home because she would fear of what abuse she would have to deal with and see.